All right. On the North Fork, Nahalem. Told y'all I was going to do a video like this so everybody could learn how to fish the North Fork. What you're looking at right now is actually the hatchery hole where if you have a disabled fishing permit, you can fish that right up there. In fact, if I scoot over here a little bit, there's a guy up there, but he's not fishing. He's just looking to see if anything's in there. Because a lot of people just like to come down here in the summertime. But it is, let's see here, August 22nd. So in our continuation of the series, I'm going to show you guys what it takes to fish the North Fork Nahalem. And this is how it starts. This is when it starts. If you really want to learn the North Fork, this is the time of year you got to come. Because in the winter, it's all going to look a whole lot different than it does now. And learning structure fishing for steelhead is where you start. Everything starts right here, coming in the summertime, seeing how all the structure is and how the fish are going to travel as they come back up the river. And since the North Fork is real popular, easy to get to, I wanted to do a video on it because I don't think anybody has. So, but up there you can see the little barrier they have. Pretty soon, actually, probably around mid-September, if we get enough rain, there'll be a bunch of silvers in here. But as you can see, the river's got to come up quite a bit. What we're looking at over here is affectionately called the slot. I've caught hundreds, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of steelhead right in here. You can see how the water breaks right across right there. In the wintertime, there's about 3 more feet of water on top of this. But seeing this structure, you see how the fish travel right up that stream. They are right on that. You can see that slot right there and how they come up the river. We'll go down to that hole down there that we call the spruce tree. We'll walk down there here in a minute and you can see that, because this right here is hollowed ground if you've been fishing the North Fork since the 80s like I have. And it's an amazing spot right here at the slot. See this big giant rock right in front of us? I can't tell you how many steelhead I've caught out of that when the North Fork is maybe running a little high, but still fishable. And that's the thing, in the wintertime, there is a hotline number that you can get from the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, and you can call the North Fork Nahalem hotline number to get an idea of what's happening here on the river. But anyways, when you're talking river levels, the North Fork fishes best between 40 and 55 inches. As long as it's somewhat clear, I'll fish it up to 60 inches. Now it's ripping through right here. Even that big rock that we see right in front of us, there's 3 feet of water on top of it. And it will be ripping through here. But these steelhead will come right up this side you see right here. You can kind of see that log down yonder there on the left, kind of sticking out. They literally will come right up this side, and you're casting maybe 10 feet in front of you, 15 feet at the most. See where this grass is right here? We catch a lot of fish right in there too. Let me see if I can move down here without tripping and falling and breaking my ass. Those fish, when it's running high, they will come up this side. And basically, they are right here where you see that log coming out, come right up that side. And then if it's running really high, they'll be like right in front of us right here. Like say up around 60 inches or so, 55 to 60 inches. It can still be a little dingy, but as long as it's green, you're good to go. But right here where you see this vegetation, we catch so many fish in that little slot right there. And you can see it's not real bouldery compared to right here. There's lots of little places when there's, 2 or 3 feet more water up on here that a steelhead can hide behind. But typically, that's the top of the slot. It runs all the way down. And you'll be able to see that dead spruce tree in the back there this winter. Comes all the way back, and then this leaner right here in front of us, and that grandma tree you see to the left. We call them big, giant spruce like that, grandma trees. That's kind of where the slot ends, but you can catch them all the way back into here. It just depends on how far you want to go down. You never want to, you know, let your presentation go too far down below you, because even if you hook something, chances of you getting it, they just got the angle on you, and you're probably not going to get it in, at least not very easily. So let's go down here as carefully as we can, and we're gonna show you guys the spruce tree hole. Lord knows it's one of my favorites. It is the spot where you want to fish the North Fork. Say, you know, the North Fork's running at 40 inches, really even down to, you know, high 30s. I tend to not fish it if it's any lower than 38 inches. But this is the spot you want to be, is right down here. You can see that big spruce tree right there, kind of leaning out over the river. And you can see right here, it gives you a great angle of where the current breaks. Let me kind of get a little elevation here. There we go. You can see, now see that leaner across the river there, that little snag? So we know come this winter that at that little snag, that's where the slot starts. And then it runs all the way down here. And it goes clear down around the corner, and we'll walk down to Umbrella Falls, which is right down there. But that's where it starts. You get to use that little snag right there as your marker, or those trees right there you can use as your marker. And you can fish that slot all the way down. And again, when they're running high, they come right up on this inside corner right here. And they will just travel through here in packs. Past few years, there's been a really good bite between like 9 and 11 o'clock. It's almost like the bite has been coming later, or the fish start moving later. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but the pattern has changed. It used to be there was a really, really good bite first thing in the morning. And it seems like the bite has gotten later throughout the day. Here's a really good look at the spruce tree hole and the bedrock that's down inside there. And there's that slot. It runs right up there. There's our little hanging snag right over there. There's our 3 spruce trees. And you can see that slot. But like, the only way you're going to see the really detailed structure and to know how these fish are in here is to get close like that. And you can see them rocks right there? See that little indention? Steelhead will hide inside that stuff. You can see that actually right over here we got this great transition between the bedrock and the gravel right here, and there's this beautiful slot right down the middle. Comes right down the middle. Then we can kind of pop over here a little bit. You can see another right in front of us, another little spot right there that a steelhead could hide. And again, not to sound redundant, but the only way you're going to know this is to see it. And the only way to see it is to start your steelheading in the summertime. All of the great steelheaders that I know, including Jim Erickson, who pretty much made the North Fork Nahalem what it is today. Without him, I don't know, this river wouldn't be near as good as it's been. But again, here we go. Here's some more structure. That's a really good one right there. So it's funny, in the wintertime, these guys will cast all up on that ledge, on that far ledge. Well, you can see that the structure is this way. It's not on that far ledge. It's right there in front of you. It's right down the middle. Not saying they don't catch fish on that far ledge, but most of the fish caught here is right down the middle. And because you can see the structure, I'm showing it to you right here. Especially that one right there in front of us, man. That's one of my money winners right there. But I'm not the only one who knows about it, and it's good for people to be able to see it. That way they can start their steelhead journey from the beginning, from when you need to start it. And starting that means you need to be out here in the summertime. Here's some more goodies right in front of us. Nice tight slot, right in tight here. You can see all those cuts in the rocks, like that one right there. Kind of comes down this way, yeah. Steelhead will hide right in there. Especially this little point right here that you see in the rocks. You can't see that any other time than right now. Those steelhead come tight right around that. When it's high, they'll come right up. See this V? It busts that way. They'll come right up over that and come up this V. They're always trying to find a different way to come upriver the easiest way. They don't want to work any harder than they absolutely need to. But we'll walk down here. Here's Umbrella Falls right down here. If you go on my Facebook page for Jack Tackle, you'll see I'm pretty sure it's still on there. My last big fish out of the falls here, it was a 16-pound hatchery brood stalker. Just an absolute beast. Got it on a jig. And it was a massive pig. I was lucky to get it. Not too many of those left anymore. There's a few. I mean, they put a few brood stalkers in the North Fork, but not like they used to. It's not near as good. But the fish aren't known for being large steelhead. Typical average steelhead here's, say, 4 to 8 pounds, with the bigger ones being 11, 12 pounds. You know, getting a 16-pounder like I did, I felt very fortunate. That's the biggest hatchery fish I've ever got on the North Fork. I got another 15.5-pounder, but it wasn't near as beautiful. It was a big hen, and that was the only nice part about it. Full of eggs. But if we scan back here, see this other structure right in front of us? And again, we'll see that too. You can see that black rock right up on the side. You know exactly where we are. And one thing you can do too, also as fishermen, in this day and age, everybody's got an iPhone, and that's what I'm using right now to record this because it does such a good job and it's easy to carry. But you can do this too, and this is how you start keeping your record, your journal of how you're gonna fish certain bodies of water. That way, even if you're on the river, you can scroll back to it and see the structure where you want to be fishing. Not much water coming on Umbrella Falls, but there's enough. Wouldn't surprise me if there's a big fat fish laying in there. The silvers, we get rain like we have been end of September. The silvers come in here real thick. It gets a real nice run of hatchery silvers. And typically we float fish for them. But I know the water's kind of dark, but you can kind of see right here in front of us, you know, how that channel is right there. It actually comes tight right to us. And it comes all around there. You can see that log. It's actually right in front of that log in front of us. You can kind of see the rocks that are down in here right there. But fish will lay up on that top stuff, but generally they're right in front of you. They love that little spot right in here. I probably catch more of them back here. And a word to the wise when you're fishing the falls. Here, that's better. You can kind of, I catch more right in here. You can see how it terraces, how it comes down. And they're usually they kind of stack in there like you'd stack wood. Some will be down here, some will be up there, some will be a little higher on the terrace. Here, let me see if I can get around a little better so you can see that. Raise the phone up. Yeah, you can see that in there. But right here tight, that's where they come. All the way back of the tail out. And this will be a lot different when we come back this winter and we fish this, and I film us fishing it. A lot of guys fish the North Fork, but few of them do this. And we could walk down. There's a couple other holes you can actually, well, it's private ground. You can see that posted sign. But when you're floating this, there's a hole on this side, but there's even another better hole on the other side. But so much vegetation in here. But another good spot, you can kind of see this rocks right here on the other side. They sometimes will come up that far side when it, especially when it starts getting lower. See that big flat rock in the back too? Right there, right up that side underneath that alders that are hanging down. That's another spot that when it's low, they'll come right up that side. They have to. That's where the bulk of the water is. But most of the time they come right up the middle here. And again, see, you can see another little, some other little structure right in there. Word to the wise too, when you're fishing Umbrella Falls, if you are in front of it like the way we are now, it gets very windy right here. And the spray coming off the falls will get you wet and it'll keep you cold. Not trying to discourage you from fishing this, just giving you a fair warning that it's tough when there's a lot of water coming off those falls. The spray just comes and beats on you. Typically we're right here at the trees where we put our gear, and then we fish right here. A lot of guys float this, but man, I whacked a couple of them last year on spinners right here, and it's usually floating jig or floating bait, something like that. But as you can see right here tight to us, here's some good structure right in front of here. You don't need to cast way over there by the falls. It's all right here in front of us. So, and then you just let it go back that way. One of my favorite patterns here, if you are so inclined, is the Nightmare. It's probably one of the oldest jig patterns that there is, but that pattern works so well here on the North Fork. It's really hard to beat if you got a float. And anytime you come down here, you should have a float rod. Even if you're not, you know, the most hardcore of hardcore float or drift fishermen, you should always have a float rod. I actually carry 3 now. I carry a drift rod, a float rod, and a spinner rod. For years, I only carried 2, but now I carry 3. My odds go up, way up. The more different presentations that you can give the steelhead. And if you're not doing it, you should be doing it. But I'm going to walk back over here on the other side of the falls and show you. So you can kind of see a white stain, looks like a stripe there on the other side. This is where I will line myself up, is right here. Because actually, the bedrock starts, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. It starts, you can see that stick in the water over there that's barely moving. It starts right there, and then it comes right down here, and it's directly right in the middle is where we're looking. Right in the middle. So I know if I line myself up right here and see the other alder on the other side there, if you're right here, kind of triangulate your position, you can let your float come right down through here. This is another really good spot if you're going to fish the falls. But the other thing, if you're going to fish the falls here, you better get here early. This is a well-known place. There's really not a lot of secrets here. You know, I've been fishing this since '89. It was the first time I came here. And caught two steelhead right here. And that's when it all got started. And I know this hole, and 1,000 other guys know this hole and know it this way. So if you want to fish this, you need to be here early, or you need to be fishing weekdays, because the weekends are a zoo around here, especially if the river is running in good shape. They are difficult, but you do not have to come directly in the morning. There are lots of people, including myself, that when this is being fished extremely heavily, I won't show up here till about noon. And about that time, I only have maybe that time, you know, I have say 4 or 5 hours of light left. There is an excellent evening bite here, and it's always a money winner. You don't have to show up early. The afternoon is just fine, and or evening. It's a great place to end your day if you want to make this your secondary spot for the day. And I love it here. This is my home river. This is hallowed ground. It's where it all got started for me. But let me see. There's such a hardcore glare on the water. There, you can kind of see how that rock right in front of Hot Terraces. See the channel? Right now it's in front of me about 7-8 feet from the bank. It's right here, right in front of me. Follow my finger. Boom, just like that. And then it goes right down the middle, right there. And then it cuts over to the left and then goes to the back. But you can triangulate your position. There's the stripe, and it'll, even if it's wet, for whatever reason, that's some kind of different rock, you'll see the stripe. Or just, you know, you can use those ferns if you want to triangulate with the alder. But right here, man, right here. I'll be here when the silvers come in, you bet your ass. So hopefully the river gods give us enough rain that brings the river up, the silvers can come up. So let's walk back up the trail here, the main part of the trail, that is, so I can show you guys that when you're walking down from the hatchery, just keep walking down river. It's a pretty good main trail here. It's really pretty in here, even in the wintertime. A lot of times we see elk down here too, so we'll walk back this way. And let's see here. I think, yeah, there's the spruce tree. We will go back up. I'll show you guys the handicap platform. You can always walk across it, but unless you're disabled and have a disabled fishing permit, you can't fish it. But if you know someone who does, you can actually assist them. When my parents were still alive, I used to bring my dad here, and even my mom would come here, and she caught her first and only steelhead here, which was really cool for me to repay for all the times she took me fishing and probably didn't want to, but my mom's the most responsible for my hunting and fishing. I mean, my dad, you know, we went hunting and fishing, but even when, you know, it was just me and my mom, the old man was off doing something else. You know, my mom would always take me. We always did those things. And she gets the lion's share of credit for sure. But here we go. Here's the slot. We're back here. That's what it looks like from the trail. This little spot right here too. A lot of guys will come down and fish that right below the log here, real in tight. Seen quite a few fish caught right in there, but we'll head back up to the platform. And in the wintertime too, this trail gets really sloppy. So if you're like me and use corker boots, make sure you have your spikes on. I mean, regular felt soles are fine, but if you got the spikes on, you won't slide around near as much. Ooh, they cut some limbs out. That's good. And the hatchery guys here are pretty cool. They may ask you to get a scale sample or something like that out of one of your fish. Please do. Give them a hand. They have a tough enough job as it is raising fish. We don't need to make it any harder as fishermen. So here we go. Ooh, I can smell fishies. Back up here at the hatchery. There we go. And there actually is bathrooms. Oh, he's cleaning the bathrooms right now. Right over there, there's a fish cleaning station. And if you want to, you can clean your steelhead. But we'll come down here. Actually, we'll just walk back this way. So I can show you. You've probably seen it as we came up. But basically, this is deadline. This sign, and right here, you can see it. It's on the rock right there. The paint's all faded, but that's deadline. So you can't fish above this unless you have the disabled fishing license. But if you do know someone who's disabled and you want to get him into a nice silver or nice steelhead, this is a place to come. There's not too many places like it in Oregon, and this is probably the best of all of them because the fish ladder is literally right over here. Now, I would like to say, if you're someone who actually can get around and do things, please, don't get a, oh, there was an otter. Oh, see him on the other side? The other side right there. There's a whole little pack of otters. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, they see me. Oh, yep, they're looking right at me. See them? Right there on the other side. Little mama otters. Probably babies. Mama's looking right at me. That's so cool. Yeah. Well, they ain't here for their hell. Those are born fishermen right there, y'all. Yep, see them coming down right there? Right on the logs right there, yeah. He's kind of looking at me, wondering if I'm someone they need to fear, and I am not. That's one animal I'd love to be reincarnated as, is a fisherman. But you can see the fish ladder right there. So that's what makes this so nice for handicapped fishermen. You can come right here. They just load up in here. It's just a great place for folks to fish. And if you're disabled and can't get around, it's accessible by wheelchair too. And there's a lot of people that take advantage of that. So especially if you know some old vets that are unfortunately bound to a wheelchair, or just an old grandma or an old grandpa, bring them here, man. Get them out. Get them fishing. Life's a whole lot better if you're fishing and hunting, no matter how old you are. So, but that's it. That's the North Fork. Pretty simple. You can kind of see the boat ramp right here if you want to float this. If you want to float it, number one rule here is don't float this river unless it's running at least 50 inches. It's just not safe because of the falls. Here, we'll walk over here. There's the man right there. I got to float this river twice with that man. He's an ornery old dog, but I'll tell you what, man, one of the finest fishermen I ever met. And the North Fork would not be what it is today without Jim Erickson. No doubt. What he did for this fishery goes without question or measure. Great man, great person. Still talk to his son Mark. In fact, Mark lives in Jim's house downriver, and they have the only takeout downriver. There is another one that you can use, a public one, but it's clear down at Aldervale, so you got to go another 2 miles. But yeah, Mark's carrying on the old man's legacy. It's pretty cool. At Erickson's, only the public can take out there. No guides can take out there. So that's the reason a lot of guides especially, don't float this river, because it is rather dangerous in a long float. I mean, not large float, long float. But if we come over here, before you float, if you're gonna float, you take a picture of this. If you don't know it by heart, you can die on this river. In fact, that man right here died on this river, unfortunately. And this river doesn't suffer fools. Not to discourage you, if you got pretty good skills on the oars, anybody can really do it. Last year I took my buddy Albert, had never, brand new to drifting really, had never oared down anything this technical, and he did it no problem. But if you know somebody who's done it before, it's always a good idea to go with somebody who's done it before, because it is dangerous. It can kill you, but man, you can have some unbelievable days, and I'm talking 30-40 fish days, just amazing, and just hammering steelhead left and right. It's just, there's some days that are they're just inspiring. Those are the days that keep me going. But again, take a picture of that map, and so you know what you're doing, and pay homage to the man. So that's the North Fork. Guru out.